A very big week for some AI and quantum stocks reporting earnings. I've been covering Meta quite a bit. We're going to touch on a big tech stock today. We have to mention NVIDIA just has absolutely climbed throughout the day as we move closer to their Q3 earnings. That's going to give us the biggest health check on the AI story. And as I watched those green candles stack one on top of the other, I thought of the bears, and in particular, Michael Burry, shorting the AI play, believing that we're in an AI bubble. And I don't think that we are. I mentioned that this was going to be a dip that was buyable. And I think the big question is, are we getting ready to roll over into a recession? And in my last video, I explained that we didn't have the data to justify that type of a sell-off. What we have is a very strong market. We have a Fed that won't budge because he's more concerned about inflation than labor. We just got his commentary. He's pretty close to the data. We've got a government shutdown that's coming to an end. That's causing a ton of chaos. Okay, and so I think we all need to be on high alert. I'm going to go over my favorite big tech stock of the month, which so far has been Meta. I've been covering it a lot. I predicted that we would bounce at 608. And that's exactly where we bounced. I had anticipated that we could have a couple more days of trouble, but we didn't. We actually bounced right there and we're moving higher. And I'm going to give you some very key and important levels in the charts. Today, CoreWeave is going to be reporting earnings after market close, and the market's going to be expecting them to have doubled their revenue. And what I wanted to point out about CoreWeave is that the expectations of this earnings cycle for these smaller AI cap companies is going to be very high. They're going to have to come out and absolutely amaze the market for them to justify their extremely high price. And then we've got two other companies reporting earnings. Rigetti. I kind of looked at that chart today, and even though it's pulled back quite a bit, and it could pop, I can't predict that, but the valuation on Rigetti seems extremely high. I saw some analysts reviewing its fair value, which was right around $2 a share versus what it's currently trading at $33 a share. And that doesn't mean that the market can't run away with it again. But what it does mean is if there is a single thing in this earnings that they say that the market doesn't like, they will pull value out of that share. And then you've got bbai. Now, this is a favorite of mine. I do like where it's come back to. And in particular, one of the reasons why I like bbai is that we've got congressmen who must know something about the future have been loading up in bbai. So this is my favorite AI earnings pick for this week. If they do poorly, I want to buy the dip. If they do well, I'm happy. I have a little position. I just want to take a minute, welcome you to Wall Street. This is the Stocks with Josh show. Thank you for taking a minute and dropping a heart in the comments. Hit that like for me, hit the subscribe. You need to grow in your journey of understanding the charts. Every single one of these videos is a charting analysis class. I want to shout out the Stocks with Josh Discord. We now have 8 live trade sessions. You can join someone and live trade alongside them. I want you guys to check it out. And if you're not ready to live trade and put money at risk, you can just show up for the university. We've got a number of crown traders in there that provide technical analysis on a lot of different stocks. And we've got 4 learning sessions over the weekends for you to dive in deeper and better understand everything that's going on Wall Street. It's the name of the show, is the name of the website, www.stockswithjosh.com. Join an encouraging community, learn the charts, and stop trading alone. All right, I wanted to talk a little bit about the government shutdown, make America mad again at the airport. It's getting worse. We're seeing that by this Friday, up to 10% of all flights could be canceled. And I think that obviously we're getting very close to a resolution. The Senate advanced a compromise funding bill today, and House leadership says they'll bring it to a vote, but it isn't law until both chambers pass it and the president signs. I do think it's getting reversed. That's why we've seen stocks coming up off of those recent lows, and it did present a buying opportunity, but we still have uncertainty, and we've got to be aware that the market's going to be very volatile until these types of things get fully resolved. Now, the last time I talked about Meta, I predicted that it would bounce off of the 604 to 608 area. And today it's moved up from Friday around $35, having an absolutely incredible move. But overall, it had been down 25%. So we had a huge pullback, which is typical to the type of move that Meta would give, that percentage at least. I'm going to take you into the charts, and I'm going to show you what the exact trigger is. and where I'm targeting for an additional up move tomorrow. Let's go look at that chart. All right, now that we have bounced off of this channel, the question is, where is the stock price going to go next? If we push in closer to these candles, we see that where it broke down previously is where it's got to cross in the coming days to trigger the next leg up, and that would be 636. And if we can push and close above 636, then the target immediately becomes 660. But if we zoom out and look at the big picture of where we're at, ultimately we're targeting a move back to the 200-day moving average. And if you recall, I pointed out the last time that Meta had a move under the 200-day moving average, and when it reversed, it went back and back tested the 200. It actually ran into some trouble there, and it came back and retested that low before moving higher in April. That was a much more volatile time. But at this moment in time, we're looking for it to push past 636, and that will give us 660. But ultimately, we're eyeballing this 676 to 690 range, which would be a full retest of the 200-day moving average. And the next thing we need to look at technically that has given us a buy signal is the RSI, and I'm going to show that to you. But I want to remind you, we're always looking at trend, structure, momentum, and volume. Now, what we just looked at was trend and structure. Now we're going to go look at the momentum, and we'll check on the volume after that. All right, I want to highlight the RSI, and I talked about this when I was predicting that we would hit the bottom of this channel. I said that it's not on the daily time frame. It's not when we cross below the 30 that is a buy signal, but actually when we cross back above the 30 is considered the traditional buy signal on an oversold move for Meta. And if you zoom in closely, you can see that today we did cross up and close above that 30% level. And the next thing we're going to be looking for is the purple bluish RSI line to go back and intersect with the moving average yellow RSI line. So I'm expecting to be watching that 636. This was our buy signal to enter. And if we get this follow through tomorrow above 636, our target will be 660. And if we go look at the MACD, you can see at the moment, we're still operating under a sell signal because we're beneath the zero line. However, we are getting a curl up here, and we're seeing that the down move is beginning to compress by the histogram turning from red to pink. And so we're going to continue to keep an eye on that for a longer term buy signal. It wouldn't be until we get up into this range back above the middle of this bullish descending channel that the MACD would print a go signal, a buy signal for us. So what we have always is the RSI is going to be the fastest indicator to give us a perspective on what is happening, and Meta is in the middle of a potential turnaround story from a downturn. I want to keep reminding you guys of the game plan. This is not an all's clear and it's a go all the way back to all-time highs. That's not what the charts can tell us just yet, and it's not what they have told us. What they're telling us is that that downward move has slowed. And with the RSI, we have an early buy signal on the cross up there. We're going to be watching for a confirmation from the MACD. The trend overall is still in a bearish pullback, and so we're still at risk, but it paid to trade structure. And I think that if we take that RSI buy signal on Meta, I think we're still have some upside potential ahead of us. Now, I have to share a little bit of an interesting story. Again, Michael Burry being bearish on everything AI. These companies lengthened the useful life of servers, spreading costs over more years and making current profits look higher. The Post says that unrealistic for fast cycling AI gear and estimates about 176 billion in depreciation will be pushed into 2026 and 2028. It claims that Oracle and Meta's earnings have been inflated and that they are pushing actual depreciation costs into the future and showing a higher revenue right now. Well, I don't believe it. I just wanted to come out and tell you guys, if you've seen that similar story and you've gotten on the bear train on Meta, I would just tell you that this is the type of FUD story that normally comes out when the market is correcting or pulling back to push everybody into fear. And the fact is that Meta's had extremely strong earnings. Let me give you guys the breakdown of what they've really accomplished. Meta's net profit margins have been between 38 and 43% consistently. They have had an operating margin of 40 to 48%, free cash flow of $23.5 billion in Q3 alone. Okay. Their FCF to net income ratio averaging over 1, which actually means that they generate more cash than they're actually reporting. So I just wanted to say that there's going to be a lot of drama, a lot of hype, a lot of volatility in the days ahead. But this is why we follow the charts, because the simple truth of it is I gave you where we would bounce on Meta on structure, right? We watched the trend. It came down to structure. Now we've bounced. We're watching for that trigger price of 636 to get crossed tomorrow for more profits to the upside, and the RSI confirmed to buy as we moved out of the oversold territory back above 30%. And we are likely going to be back testing that RSI moving average. And if some of this didn't make sense to you, I teach on it in the Stocks with Josh Discord alongside my crown traders to help this journey make more sense to everybody who's learning it. I remember when I was in your same shoes, I didn't understand what the RSI, the MACD, any of it meant. It almost seemed unlearnable. But I want to encourage you, it's not. You begin to spend time on these things, and then one day, I use that word confluence. It's a Wall Street word. When things begin to align and agree with each other, that's how the technicals will come together for you at some point. Hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and blessings. Let's see what Rigetti and bbai give us today. Let me take a quick station break to tell you about the Moomoo investment app. If you're looking for better trade tools or you just want to get more out of your broker, check out their latest offer. Right now, Moomoo is giving new users up to $1,000 in NVDA stock just for making a deposit. And any idle cash you put into the account, you can earn up to 8.1% annual percentage yield for the first few months and 4.1% after that, which is still higher than most banks. This offer is only available for users in the United States and only available for a limited time, so hit the link, check it out on their website, read the fine print, and see for yourself.